What I'm about to share might sound dramatic, but it's something every smart person needs to hear right now. Multiple industry insiders are warning about major supply disruptions in the coming months. This isn't about panic. It's about facts that could keep your family fed when others are scrambling. We saw similar warning signs in early 2020 when shelves emptied in under 48 hours. This time, we have the advantage of knowing what's coming and exactly what disappears first. Over the past month, I've identified 6 critical grocery items that vanish fastest during supply chain breakdowns. These aren't random picks. They're backed by real purchase data, expert interviews, and lessons from previous crises. Stocking them now isn't hoarding, it's intelligent preparation that can save you from chaos, shortages, and inflated prices later. Our food distribution system is running on razor-thin margins with almost no backup inventory. Once one link in the chain fails, the collapse can be shockingly fast. I've seen it firsthand. Neighbors who thought they had time were left empty-handed when deliveries stopped. The families who fared best weren't wealthy or extreme preppers. They were simply early and strategic in securing the right products. Right now, we're in the sweet spot, where you can still prepare calmly, affordably, and without fighting crowds. But that window closes the moment the media starts reporting on shortages. The 6 products I'm about to reveal are affordable, versatile, and have long shelf lives. They're not just for emergencies. They integrate into regular meal planning so nothing goes to waste. So let's get into the details. I'll show you exactly what to buy, why it matters, how much you need, and the best storage methods. Most importantly, I'll share insider timing strategies so you can act before the rush and make sure your family stays ahead of the crisis. Item 1, and this is going to surprise a lot of people, is premium salt. Not regular table salt that you grab without thinking. I'm talking about high-quality sea salt or pink Himalayan salt that most people consider a luxury item. Here's why this matters more than you might realize. During the last major supply disruption, I watched families struggle, not because they didn't have food, but because everything they cooked tasted terrible without proper seasoning. My sister called me in tears after 3 days of eating bland rice and canned vegetables because she couldn't find decent salt anywhere. The psychological impact of flavorless food during stressful times is devastating. But there's something even more critical that most people don't understand about salt. Your body actually needs more sodium during crisis situations. A recent study from the American Journal of Emergency Medicine found that stress increases your body's sodium requirements by up to 40%. When you're dealing with the mental strain of supply shortages, your physiology literally demands more salt to maintain proper function. The brands you want to look for are Celtic sea salt and real salt. These aren't just marketing gimmicks. These salts contain trace minerals that your body craves, especially when your diet becomes limited during emergencies. Regular table salt is stripped of these nutrients and actually contains anti-caking agents that can cause digestive issues when consumed in larger quantities. Here's something fascinating that changed my entire perspective on salt storage. During World War II, salt was literally used as currency in some regions because it was so essential and scarce. Fast forward to today, and most American households have maybe 2 weeks' worth of salt in their kitchen. That's nowhere near enough if supply chains get disrupted. I personally keep about 5 pounds of premium salt stored in airtight containers, which sounds like a lot until you realize it costs less than $30 and could last my family 6 months. Compare that to what people were paying for salt during the last shortage. My neighbor told me he paid $15 for a small container that normally costs $3, and he felt grateful to find it. The storage is incredibly simple. Salt literally lasts forever if you keep it dry. I use those large mason jars with tight-fitting lids and store them in my pantry. No special temperature requirements, no rotation needed. It's probably the easiest prep item you'll ever manage. But here's the game-changing part that nobody talks about. Premium salt becomes a massive morale booster when everything else in your life feels uncertain. There's something deeply satisfying about food that actually tastes good during difficult times. It sounds simple, but the families who maintained the best mental health during extended disruptions were the ones who could still make their food taste normal. Item 2 is going to change how you think about emergency nutrition entirely. Freeze-dried fruits and vegetables, not the cardboard tasting stuff from decades ago. The new freeze drying technology creates products that are virtually identical to fresh produce in taste and nutrition. Last month, I did a blind taste test with my kids using freeze dried strawberries from Thrive Life. They honestly couldn't tell the difference between those and fresh berries. The texture is almost identical, the flavor is actually more concentrated, and they're shelf stable for up to 25 years. Think about that for a second. 25 years of perfect nutrition sitting in your pantry. During the 2020 shortages, fresh produce became almost impossible to find in many areas. But families who had invested in quality freeze-dried options maintained their vitamin and mineral intake without any problems. My friend Sarah told me her kids stayed healthier during that period than they had during normal times because she was being so intentional about their nutrition. Here's what most people don't realize about freeze-dried produce. The process actually preserves more nutrients than fresh fruits and vegetables that have been shipped across the country and sitting on shelves for weeks. A study published in the Journal of Food Processing showed that freeze-dried vegetables retained 97% of their original vitamin content. Compare that to fresh produce that can lose up to 45% of its nutrients during transportation and storage. The versatility is incredible. You can eat them straight as snacks, rehydrate them for cooking, or blend them into smoothies. I keep freeze-dried corn, peas, carrots, and mixed berries as my core selection. During power outages, you can even rehydrate them with cold water, though warm water works faster. Storage requirements are minimal. Keep them in their original packaging in a cool, dry place. I store mine in a closet where the temperature stays consistent. Unlike canned vegetables that take up massive amounts of space, a small container of freeze-dried produce expands to several cups when rehydrated. The cost initially seems high until you calculate the actual value. One container of freeze-dried corn that costs $12 provides the equivalent of about 6 bags of frozen corn. When you factor in the 25-year shelf life and the fact that nothing ever spoils, it's actually one of the most economical ways to store vegetables long-term. Item 3 might be the most underestimated item on this entire list. Ghee, which is clarified butter that doesn't require refrigeration. Most people have never heard of it, but it could become your family's most valuable cooking ingredient during extended supply disruptions. Regular butter lasts maybe a week without refrigeration before it goes rancid. Ghee can sit at room temperature for over a year without any preservation issues. During the Texas power grid failure, families were throwing away spoiled dairy products by the hundreds of dollars, while those who had ghee could still cook normally. The nutritional profile is outstanding. Ghee contains fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K that become critically important when your diet is limited. It's also rich in conjugated linoleic acid, which supports immune function. During stressful situations, your body needs these healthy fats to maintain hormone production and brain function. From a cooking perspective, ghee has a much higher smoke point than regular butter, making it perfect for high-heat cooking. You can use it for everything from sautéing vegetables to baking bread. It adds that rich, buttery flavor that makes simple ingredients taste satisfying and comforting. I discovered ghee almost by accident when I was looking for shelf-stable cooking fats. The first time I used it, I was amazed at how it transformed basic rice into something that actually tasted good. My wife now prefers it to regular butter for most cooking applications, even during normal times. The brand I recommend is Pure Indian Foods. Their ghee is made from grass-fed butter and has an incredible flavor profile. One jar costs about $18 and lasts our family of 4 approximately 6 weeks with regular use. During an emergency, it would last much longer since you'd use smaller quantities. Storage is foolproof. Keep it in the original glass jar at room temperature. It actually develops better flavor over time, unlike most cooking fats that degrade. I keep 3 jars in rotation, using the oldest first and replacing as needed. Here's something interesting about ghee that I learned from an Ayurvedic nutritionist. In traditional Indian medicine, it's considered a healing food that supports digestion and reduces inflammation. During times of stress and limited food variety, these properties become even more valuable for maintaining overall health. The psychological benefit is huge too. When you can make your emergency supplies taste rich and satisfying, it completely changes the experience of eating during difficult times. Instead of feeling deprived, you feel like you're taking good care of your family. Item 4 is where things get really strategic. Raw honey, but not just any honey. You want unprocessed, unpasteurized honey from local sources whenever possible. This isn't just a sweetener. It's medicine, preservation, and nutrition, all wrapped into one incredible product. During extended supply disruptions, processed sugar becomes incredibly scarce and expensive, but raw honey never expires. Archaeologists have found edible honey in Egyptian tombs that's over 3,000 years old. Talk about shelf stable. When everything else is uncertain, you'll have a sweetener that literally lasts forever. The medicinal properties are documented extensively. Raw honey has antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral compounds that can help your family stay healthy when medical care might be limited. I keep a jar specifically designated for wound care because it promotes healing and prevents infection better than many over-the-counter antiseptics. The nutritional density is incredible. Raw honey contains over 20 amino acids, numerous vitamins including B6, thiamine, niacin, and riboflavin, plus minerals like calcium, copper, iron, magnesium, and zinc. When your diet becomes restricted during supply shortages, these micronutrients become absolutely critical for maintaining energy and immune function. But here's where raw honey becomes truly strategic. It's one of the few natural preservatives that actually works. You can use it to extend the shelf life of other foods, create natural cough syrups, and even make fermented beverages if water quality becomes questionable. My grandmother taught me to mix honey with apple cider vinegar as a natural antibiotic, something that proved invaluable when pharmacies were closed during the last regional emergency. The type of honey matters enormously. Manuka honey from New Zealand has the highest antibacterial activity, but it's expensive. For most families, locally sourced wildflower honey provides excellent nutrition and medicinal benefits at a fraction of the cost. I source mine directly from a beekeeper about 30 miles from my house, paying roughly $8 per pound for quality that would cost $20 in health food stores. Storage couldn't be simpler. Keep it in glass jars at room temperature away from direct sunlight. If it crystallizes, which is completely normal, just warm it gently to return it to liquid form. The crystallization actually indicates that you have real, unprocessed honey rather than the corn syrup mixtures sold in many grocery stores. Here's something most people never consider. Raw honey becomes incredibly valuable for trade during shortages. Throughout history, honey has been used as currency because everyone recognizes its value. During the last supply disruption, I watched neighbors trading honey for fresh eggs and vegetables when normal commerce broke down. The psychological comfort factor is massive. There's something deeply satisfying about having real sweetness available when everything else feels restricted. My kids actually prefer honey over processed sugar now, and knowing we have a permanent supply gives our whole family peace of mind. Item 5 changes everything about emergency cooking. Coconut flour, which most people think of as just another health food trend, but it's actually one of the most versatile and nutrient-dense options for long-term food security. This isn't regular wheat flour that goes rancid after a few months. Coconut flour can last up to 3 years when stored properly. During the 2020 shortages, wheat flour disappeared from store shelves for months in some regions. Families who depended on bread and baked goods for their daily calories found themselves completely stuck. But coconut flour works differently. It's naturally gluten-free, incredibly high in fiber and protein, and a little goes a very long way. The nutritional profile is outstanding. Coconut flour contains about 18 grams of fiber and 6 grams of protein per quarter cup, compared to regular flour, which has virtually no nutritional value. It's also rich in healthy saturated fats that provide sustained energy and support hormone production during stressful periods. What shocked me when I first started experimenting with coconut flour was how much it expands when you add liquid. Recipes typically call for only 1/4 the amount you'd use with regular flour because it absorbs so much moisture. This means a 5-pound bag of coconut flour provides the equivalent cooking capacity of about 20 pounds of regular flour. The versatility is incredible. You can make pancakes, muffins, bread, and even use it as a coating for proteins. I've successfully made everything from chocolate cake to fried chicken using coconut flour as the base. The texture is slightly different from wheat flour, but the flavor is actually better in most applications. Here's where it gets really strategic. Coconut flour is naturally antimicrobial and resistant to pests. Unlike regular flour that attracts insects and rodents, coconut flour can be stored without those concerns. I keep mine in sealed containers in my pantry, and after 2 years, it's still perfect. The cost seems high initially until you calculate the actual usage. A 5-pound bag costs about $15, but lasts our family approximately 4 months with regular baking. During an emergency, when you're being more conservative with ingredients, it would last much longer while providing superior nutrition. But here's what really convinced me about coconut flour. During a camping trip last year when our cooler failed and we lost most of our fresh ingredients, I was able to make satisfying meals using just coconut flour, eggs, and some basic seasonings. The kids were happy, we stayed well fed, and it proved that this ingredient could carry our family through extended periods when normal grocery shopping isn't possible. Item 6 is going to completely change how you think about emergency beverages and nutrition. Powdered bone broth, which sounds unusual until you understand why it's become the secret weapon of serious preparedness experts. This isn't just bouillon cubes with artificial flavoring. I'm talking about real bone broth that's been dehydrated while preserving all its nutritional benefits. During extended supply disruptions, one of the biggest challenges families face isn't just getting enough calories. It's maintaining proper nutrition when fresh foods aren't available. Bone broth provides complete proteins with all essential amino acids, plus minerals like calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus that your body desperately needs during stress. The brands to look for are Kettle and Fire and Ancient Nutrition. Their powdered bone broth actually tastes like the real thing because it is the real thing, just with the water removed. One container provides the equivalent of about 12 cups of liquid bone broth, but it takes up minimal storage space and lasts for years. What really opened my eyes about bone broth was learning how it supports gut health and immune function. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Medicine showed that regular bone broth consumption strengthens intestinal barrier function and reduces inflammation. When your diet becomes limited during emergencies, these benefits become critically important. The preparation is incredibly simple. Just mix 1 tablespoon with hot water, and you have a nutritious, satisfying beverage that feels like a real meal. During cold weather or power outages, it provides warmth and comfort that goes way beyond basic nutrition. My family actually prefers it to regular soup now because the flavor is so rich and satisfying. But here's the strategic advantage that most people miss. Powdered bone broth becomes the foundation for countless other meals. You can use it as a cooking liquid for rice or vegetables, as a base for gravies and sauces, or even drink it straight as a protein supplement. During the last supply shortage, I watched neighbors struggling to make their limited ingredients taste good while we were creating restaurant-quality flavors using bone broth as our secret ingredient. Storage requirements are minimal. Keep the containers sealed and store them in a cool, dry place. Unlike liquid bone broth that requires refrigeration and expires quickly, the powdered version maintains its nutritional value and flavor for up to 5 years. That's 5 years of premium nutrition that takes up less space than a few cans of soup. The cost breakdown is actually remarkable. One container costs about $25 but provides nutrition equivalent to over $60 worth of fresh bone broth. When you factor in the convenience and shelf life, it's one of the most economical ways to ensure your family has access to high-quality protein during uncertain times. What really convinced me was seeing how bone broth affects energy levels and mental clarity. During stressful situations, your body burns through nutrients faster than normal. The amino acids in bone broth, particularly glycine and proline, help maintain stable blood sugar and support neurotransmitter production. This means better decision-making and emotional stability when you need it most. These 6 products work together as a complete system that covers every aspect of emergency nutrition and food security. The salt ensures everything tastes good and provides essential minerals. The freeze-dried produce delivers vitamins and fiber that fresh foods can't match for longevity. The ghee gives you cooking versatility and healthy fats. Raw honey provides sweetness, medicine, and preservation. Coconut flour creates the foundation for satisfying meals, and powdered bone broth ties it all together with complete proteins and rich flavor. What makes this approach so powerful is that these aren't just emergency supplies sitting in storage. They integrate seamlessly with your regular cooking and actually improve your family's nutrition starting immediately. We use all 6 products in our normal meal rotation, which means nothing ever expires and we're constantly familiar with how they work. The total investment for a family of 4 is approximately $200, but this creates a foundation that could sustain your household for months if necessary. Compare that to what unprepared families spent during the last shortage, often paying triple prices for inferior products when they could find anything at all. But time is running out faster than most people realize. The supply chain experts I follow are seeing warning signs that remind them of early 2020, except this time the underlying systems are more fragile. Store inventories are lower, transportation networks are more stressed, and there's less backup capacity in the entire system. The families who take action in the next few weeks will have completely different experiences than those who wait until shortages make headlines. Right now, you can still shop calmly, compare prices, and build your supplies systematically. Once panic buying starts, those options disappear instantly,